Okay, everybody. Let's sit down. Anybody knows what breathwork is, or maybe not? I will explain anyway, but just to yeah. Okay, so today we're going to do about an hour to maybe an hour and 20 minutes max of breathwork, and mainly breathwork is used to, at least this kind of breathwork that we will do, is used to get more clarity with oneself or access a few parts of the subconscious. It could also be a good way to have, like, if possible, a spiritual experience even, or nothing. Some people don't feel anything when they do this kind of breath work, and that's normal. And sometimes it takes a few sessions, so that we start to get it. But a lot of people get at least something from it. It's going to be a gentle kind of breath work, and I will explain the procedure, how it will go. Also, breath work is important to discharge in case we have like traumas or stresses inside the body, because a lot of things are stored in the body. So by breathing a little bit differently than we normally breathe, that can trigger a few things in the body, and it can trigger emotions and stopped energy that can be processed while navigating during the breathwork session. If anybody needs something during the session, also raise your hand and I'll come and see you. If you're going through something difficult or you need anything, let me know and I'll come and see you. So I will explain a little bit what this breathwork is about. So it's very similar to breathing normally. The only difference is that the in-breath and the out-breath are really connected together, and the in-breath and the out-breath. So meaning that when we usually breathe out, for example, we wait like a fraction of a second before we breathe in again. And in this one, there's no waiting. So whenever we finish breathing out, we breathe in fully again. So instead of being like this is a normal breathing. See, there's like a little pause between exhaling and inhaling. In this kind of breathing, we're going to do something like this. Ideally breathing in from the mouth, like this, and then exhaling either from the mouth or the nose. So there's no pause between the out breath and the in breath. That will allow some more oxygen to get into the lungs and the body. During the first minutes you will find your groove too. So there's no real rule for anything, but you will find your groove. The main point is to, in a few minutes after starting to do this kind of breath work, you may feel some tingling, for example, in the feet or in the hands, or maybe you will feel a little bit hotter than you usually do, or maybe even a little bit colder. And that's normal. There's nothing to freak out about that, because it's a normal thing to do. If you don't feel anything, then accelerate or inhale a little bit deeper and exhale normally. So we always exhale normally in this kind of breath work. There's nothing, like, it's very passive, the exhale. It's just the lungs going back to their normal volume. It's only the inhale that's going right after the last CO2 is exhaled that we bring the oxygen in the body. This is the active part only. And we inhale slightly more than we usually do when we breathe. So it's a bit like this. Okay, see? Okay. And again, after a few minutes, you probably will start feeling like sensations in the body. I will talk a little bit about how to journey this kind of session. So this kind of session can bring in emotions, for example, emotions that have been either stored in the past, or maybe strong visions, whatever it is. If it's the point is to surrender to what's happening, and to fully be there, present with what's happening, without reacting. That's very important. So there's no reaction to what's happening, there's no judgment. Don't judge anything that's coming, even if it's undesired or even if it's a feeling of sadness or anger or whatever. Try to be with it, because when we surrender to it and we are with what's happening in us, it's like respecting what's in us, because it is in us anyway, so it has to be respected in order to be released. So it's a little bit about like being an empty container, a solid empty container that's allowing whatever is in us to be. It could be happiness, a lot of happiness or bliss. And here too, try not to because when it's an intense emotion, if it's even intense happiness, sometimes we don't know how to deal with it and we start to So try to be with it and open up to it, keep breathing. So in a way, this is like gaining maturity. To me, that's one of the ways the human being gains maturity, by fully surrendering and opening up to whatever is happening in us without reacting and without necessarily giving it a cognitive meaning or intellectualizing it, because we don't really know. But what we can do is to be here for us, having the faith that we're going to be fine. At some point, when you feel after maybe let's say 15 minutes or something like that, if you feel that you're okay with the breathing, like a lot is happening, then go back to your normal breath. Until you feel like, oh, okay, I'm coming back to reality or to normal in the room, so let me do the breathing again. And then you start breathing again to activate these things again. So it's very intuitive. You will decide when to do what. But I would say at least the first 10 minutes, and I won't necessarily give the time, but like approximately the first 10 minutes to 15 minutes, it's going to be like you breathing this kind of breath work. And then depending on how you feel, go back to your natural breathing. And if you have any, do you have any questions so far?
We will be sitting maybe or laying down.
Laying down, yeah.
Laying down?
Yeah.
And closing our eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay if you feel cold. You can feel cold and even sweat at the same time. It happens. It happened to me once when I was doing this kind of exercise. I was super hot, but I was super cold, but sweating at the same time. I had goosebumps. You may have goosebumps. If it becomes really difficult or unmanageable, let me know. Raise your hand and let me know. I'll come and help you. And stay keep like a fundamental faith that it's okay. Things like that happen. And if you're going through a tough experience, like if it's really difficult, come back to the breath, forget about it, focus on your breath, like normal breathing, not breathing like I'm telling you, normal breathing, and come back to the room, like in your head, to get a bit detached from what's happening. And when you feel like you can go back to what's happening.
I'm tired, I would give the rest, just the rest instead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay. Okay, so let's shake.
Raja,
Yeah.
is there any guide on how should be the visualization?
No, it's you and yourself. There's no, what kind of guide, for example? What kind of guidance? Guiding?
Do we have to put ourselves somewhere, or do we just focus on your...
No, don't focus on anything. Okay, thank you, that's a very good question. Okay, guys, you don't try to do anything in this. It's very passive. You're just observing what's happening, or you're just like an empty vessel, and things will come. So it's like being really attuned. Are you listening? It's like being attuned to what's happening. So it's a little bit like, let's suppose that I have a little child here, okay, with me, and this child needs something. It either wants to express some happiness or some sadness or whatever. I don't know what the child wants, but I know as an adult I'm here for this child. So I'm listening to what's happening. I'm not trying to intellectualize what's happening, and I'm not trying to tell the child what to do. I'm just waiting, and I'm holding what's happening. So this is a little bit what you want to do. It's very passive. It's going to be very active, because things will emerge. But you remain passive in the sense that you're processing. It's a bit like a meditation. You observe things coming, and you're there with them, you connect with them, but you don't try to change anything, you don't try to visualize anything, you don't try to intellectualize or to make sense of it. Just feel it, allow it to be in you, and then it may go away, or you may cry, or you may laugh. Who knows? So it's a very good exercise to know how to be with oneself, because we don't know how to be with ourselves. We always engage in our own conversations that are based on our own defense mechanisms and our own belief systems and stuff like that, which has been conditioned. So here it's very it's like we're unconditioning to become pure again. So you're just honoring what's in you to happen. And it may be released. It may be released forever sometimes. And it's okay if it doesn't work from the first shot, because we're not used to this. Nobody teaches us how to do that in society. So, but it's a good exercise. It's a very good exercise to do. Yeah. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, let's move a bit.